Hello, everybody, and welcome back to an episode of Slam Talk SuperCoach. I am, of course, Slam, and my SuperCoach team is absolutely flying after a massive round 7. We cracked 2,557 points last week for a big jump up to the rankings all the way to 1,835. Why did I say all the way like I had a very weird accent then? I do not know. But what I do know is my SuperCoach team is absolutely humming at the moment. And unlike those Los Angeles Lakers, we still have something to play for this season. But how'd you do it, Slam? How have you jumped up the rankings? How's your side so damn good right now? Well, I'll show you. If you're watching on YouTube, as you should be, always watching on YouTube to see all the graphics, all the videos, you can now see my ranking, 1,835. Very nice. My round 7 score, 2,557. Whoa, the best score I've had probably in 5, 6, 7 years. But how'd you do it? Well, let's look at the side. Let's see how they scored last weekend. My backline has been very strong in recent weeks. Sheasel, Clark, Roberts, and Bice have all scored excellently. Ballydale, not so much. Ballydale been a big disappointment. Here's a yo-yo. Similar to how Elliot Yo, when he was a forward 5, 6, 7 years ago, would get 130, 70, 120, 60. Dale has been very inconsistent for me. A lot of peaks and valleys, but I still think he can be a top 12er from here. Back to Marvel Stadium is where he scores his most points, and also Mars Stadium down in Ballarat. He's scored some 130s in the past, so don't lose faith with Dale just yet. Do not sideways trade premiums, but he has been a big disappointment after the first 2 rounds. Cash cows, we brought Carroll in last week. Carroll got 50 in a good win for the Blues. Hopefully that helps his job security. Now, a lot of people are looking at Trainer and Reed. Do I trade them out? We'll get to that in a second. We're just going through how good my side is at the moment. Just joking. Midfield, Brayshaw, Dacos, Neil, Chera, Oliver, Callahan. Almost all of them have done their job or are now starting to do their job, particularly Brayshaw and Dacos, putting up bombs week after week. I said in the preseason, Andrew Brayshaw is a must-own because he doesn't get tagged. He's fit. He gets high tackle numbers, and he can get the damn pill. He'll have the ball 30 times. He won the medal last Friday night between Fremantle and Adelaide. 157 points. He's been a great pickup. Too much now to trade into, but if you started with him, well done. 666, that's the Devil's number, if you're seeing that right now. Hopefully a devilish score from him on this weekend. Dacos, I got him in. He was pretty good, 125 points. Did I need to move Bailey Humphrey to get him? Probably not. Probably a bit of an error doing that, but I'm happy I've got Dacos. I don't have to worry about him going up against me every single week. Neil, 3 goals, a great return to form for Lockie Neil. Chera, avoid suspension, which we love to see in SuperCoach. Obviously, 1 week, 2 week suspensions, they make it hard if you're chasing overall. You want to trade them out when that happens, but no suspension, no groin injury as far as we know. Teams come out in a couple of hours, so he should be good to go this weekend. Happy to hold Adam Chera. Oliver, he just gets his score every week, 98 to 103. We hold him for now. We've got other issues to deal with on our team, but geez, he's been disappointing. We thought at that price, he might get back to the good old days of Clayton Oliver, but it doesn't seem to be the case. Finn Callahan, 116. Started the year really strongly, had 2 or 3 poor weeks in between. Now back to 100, got 100 in Adelaide, got 100 on the weekend against the Doggies over in Monica. So we're happy with Callahan. He's building, still a young player. If he averages 103 and we trade him come finals time, that's a big tick for me. Marek, 87, got hurt by not scoring much in the last quarter, gave away a 50-metre penalty, which was -8, which ended up me losing a cash league against my good friend Mark. That sucked. But mainly, he's been a really good pickup for me. Ashcroft, we'll talk about Ashcroft in a second. He might be a trade out this week in order to get another premium on the field and get rid of a kid. But he's made $165,000, averaging 75. He's still been a great pickup for anyone that has him. My bench, Lindsay, 78. Had a low break even. I said, don't trade Xavier Lindsay because after that 9 points, we knew, geez, his rolling 3-round average is going to suck for the next 3 weeks. But as soon as that comes out, he's a good player. He was popping out 80s to start the year before his injury. He was a stronghold. Very happy I've held him now. Hewitt, another 60. Not going to get 90 to 100 every week, but he's averaging 60. He's going to play for the West Coast almost every single week. Will make you a little bit of money if you held him. Well done. And my man, the Chara, Elijah Sartis, 191,000. I would not be trading him in. Please do not trade in Elijah Sartis because Jai Caldwell is 1 week away. Dylan Shield was managed on the weekend. Essendon have players coming back. Even Matt Guelphy is coming back through the VFL. Sartis' role and his position in the team is not secure. But for tonight only, against North, he should get 80. He should reward the people that have held him for the last month when he hasn't played, but I would not be trading in Sardis. Rucks are strong. Gorn 174, huge score. Tom de Koning 135, another huge score. These two are the rucks you'd wanted to own for the majority of this season. They've both been really good. Gorn is now rounding into form. And in the forward line, Horne-Francis, Bailey Smith, McRae, Daniel, Powell Pepper. You owned all 5 of those guys, like I said in the preseason, you'd be laughing. They've all been absolute guns. I mean, Horne-Francis started slow, still averaging 100. Bailey Smith missed that 1 week with a calf. We thought, oh, geez, we've got to trade him out. Oh, I don't get him. Oh, if I don't own Bailey Smith, I'm doing well. Incorrect. Smith has been a monster this year, gets so many touches for Geelong. They feed him the ball in all areas of the ground. He's a must-own for me. Daniel, McRae, the former Dogs, been pretty good. McRae started super hot, so did Daniel. Now cooling off slightly, still top 6-7 forwards in my opinion. And Sammy Powell-Pepper. If you just click on Sam Powell-Pepper right now, he's been almost the cash carry of the year. In terms of what he's provided to your forward line, I think he's been the cash carry of the year because he's made 200K. His break even is 17, which means he's going to make you 235, 240 grand. And in the forward line, which was our biggest worry going to the season, that is gold. That is how you set up your whole team and you set up your season. I love Sam Pepper and how he's playing this season. And finally, Sam Davidson on my field. Before I get to my flex in a second, he's been very consistent, averaging 70 points. His major, well, he will make you close to $200,000. He's been a must-have and a great player for me. And on the bench, Kako and Cleary. Cleary popped up with a 90. I'm very happy I have Cleary now. And Kako hopefully drops a 75 or even a 65 against North tonight, or you can move him on in the coming weeks. And finally, Flynn Sanity himself in the flex, Mr. Matthew Flynn. If you don't know Matthew Flynn, the moment has probably passed. He had a big jump last weekend. What did he make last weekend? He made $80,000. It's too late. I wouldn't be jumping into Flynn. His job security is not rock solid by any means at West Coast. Lloyd Meek bathed him last week. He had a rubber ducky on one side and he had a bottle of lotion on the other, and he was bathing the 6'9" Matthew Flynn for the last 3 quarters of this game. First quarter was a slight shower. The next 3 quarters were an absolute bathing because he smashed Flynn in all areas of the ground. But having said all that, Matthew Flynn is still a nice SuperCoach player to own because he gets 105 despite having a bad game. Okay, Ruckman scored points. It's that simple in this stupid fantasy game, which I'm obsessed with. Now it's time to talk about the real stuff. The stuff that matters, the trades. Everyone out there is asking me, what do I do with my trades this week? We've got the worst options possible for trade-ins. Well, let's look at the break-evens. Let's have a look at which players have the highest break-evens or the lowest break-evens for this week. Let's start with the negatives. The blokes that are in the negatives that will make you a bunch of cash if they play this week. Oscar McDonald. The issue with Oscar McDonald is the fact that he plays for Freo and they have 2 ruckmen who they pay close to $2 million. Now, he played as a second ruck and as a tall forward the last few weeks. Unfortunately, Luke Jackson will return this weekend. And Fremantle play Friday night against the Saints. So you'll know for sure if Oscar McDonald's not playing. That makes me think his job security is poor at best. And if he did find another role in that team, say on a half-back line, then I don't know how long he can sit in that position. Because he trained as a forward and a ruckman in the preseason. So clearly he's been earmarked for that role. Now, he doesn't get that opportunity unless Luke Jackson or Sean Darcy go down again. But at the moment, they're both healthy. So I just don't know how he's going to keep that role and that scoring potential. If for some reason he's named tonight and you think, okay, he's going to play as a third string ruck or even just as a tall forward, then maybe you could convince yourself that, okay, he's going to make enough cash. He's got a position in the team outside playing as a ruckman. He could be okay. For mine, he's not an option. Unless you know for sure that he's somehow getting ruck minutes, which doesn't seem possible, then I can't be bringing him in. There's just better options in what is a really bad week for trade-ins. We'll go to the next player who I think realistically could play this week and make money, and that is James Tunstall from the Brisbane Lions. Now, we know Kai Lohmann has suffered a few injuries this year, which has paved the way for Tunstall to get some more minutes. And Lohmann got injured again on the weekend. We're unsure how long he will be out for. It could be multiple weeks. If that is the case, Tunstall, who plays, I think, 7:20 or 7 o'clock on Sunday night, would represent a decent trade-in option. He got 80 in his first game, or around 80. And the last game, he was the sub, and he got a lowish score. Was about, let me pull it up, it was about 30 or so. Tunstall's score on the weekend. His season stats, let me pull it up here, sorry. He got 88 and 13, sorry. He got 13 points as the sub against the Saints, which does hurt any sort of cash generation. But if Lohman or another player was deemed to be out for the next 3 to 4 weeks, and we got some words from the coaching staff at Brisbane that said, you know what, we like Jimmy Tunstall. We're going to give him a month run. Then he could be a viable option. But again, job security is so poor, as evidenced by him being the sub last week. I just don't love that option. And the worst part is you won't know until Sunday night, because that's when they'll name their subs for Brisbane. You won't even know whether he's in the 22 until Friday at 5 o'clock, because Brisbane will name an extended squad tonight. Too much risk attached to that for mine. But if you didn't have many options, then James Tunstall would be one to consider. We'll move down on the break-even options. The issue is with this is the next player is Henry Huswaite, who I like, who's got 72, the pencil, but he's played one game. He's played one game so far this year. Connor Nash will be out for the next 3 rounds with suspension, which does help. Will Day will be out for the next 3 months with injury, which also helps. But how long will Mr. Henry Huswaite stay in the side? And will that be long enough to make us some decent cash? That's a question we all must ask ourselves right now. 72 last week. Inside midfield role. Played West Coast, who got the most points to inside midfielders. Now he plays Richmond, another team which has been smashed by inside midfielders over the last 2 seasons. Can you convince yourself that it's worth it for 4 rounds before what looks like an omission is coming from Hawthorn, and Henry Huswaite is back out of the side and back in the VFL? That's what I'm grappling with right now. And of all the options, he would be number 1, because we think he's going to get to the 3 games, which means there will be cash coming in. Because we think there's also a 4th game, because Connor Nash is also suspended. If there was to be an injury, or if there was to be a way he could force himself into the side, even on the half-back line, which is where he's trained in the preseason and played in the VFL for periods, then yeah, there is a really good pickup. But if he's only going to play 4 games, it's a tough one to swallow. It's a tough pill to eat, because there's not going to be enough cash generation. He's going to be 0 on your bench. And if your side has got Tom Gross, or it's got Sandy Brock, or it's got Angus Hasty, it's got all these other guys who haven't got to 3 games and haven't made you any money, then how can you bring in another player who won't make you 200k? That's what you've got to be grappling with. If you've got Clay Hall, then I wouldn't advise getting Henry Huswaite, because then you could have 2 dead rookies in 3 weeks' time, and the lack of cash generation will severely hamper your ability to get to full premium. But that's just my opinion. Obviously, it's always horses for courses, and you make your own decisions, but I'm still unsure whether Huswaite is the one. Right now, my trades would be to get Huswaite in, but I'm so undecided right now. It's Thursday, it's pre-teams. If I did make a trade, it would have to be Levi Ashcroft out, Henry Huswaite in, Sam Davidson out, Christian Petrarca in. Now that's full of risks. You're bringing in a player who's played 1 game. You're getting rid of 2 cash cows with break-even sub 50. But these are the tough calls you need to make when you're all the way ranked up in the top 2,000. I'm just that good. Only joking. Other players I'd consider bringing in. While we do see the man from the Doggies, it is Jed Buslinger. Now, Buslinger, I don't mind. Got 57 last week. I actually sent a question over to Goat Fantasy himself, Mr. Drew Jones. Can we trust Buslinger? Can we trust Henry Huswaite? He likes Buslinger. He thinks the Doggies staff like Buslinger as well. 57 points. Was it 12 disposals, 4 marks? He's got a very strong intercept game, Buslinger, which is nice to have. It's how you're going to score Supercoach points. But I don't know whether the job security is there. I mean, as you can see his stats last weekend. Liam Jones didn't play. He was dropped. How long will they go with Buslinger over Jones? A couple of injuries for the Doggies. Could we see Cleary move out? Could we see a reshuffling of the back line? Keeps Buslinger in there as an interceptor? I'd want to wait. I'd want to wait at least 1 more week, just because he's never played before. We don't know if he really is a top Supercoach option. Unlike Huswaite, who I know is a midfielder, he's proven he can get the pill. He had 24 disposals against the Eagles. Buslinger has 8 touches this weekend, scores 38 points. He's on the bubble, not only for Supercoach, but for his own side to be the next one dropped. So I'd have to wait 1 more week on Buslinger. I just think the rookies are too hard this week to make in multiple trade-ins. And if you had to make one, like you had to make one similar to myself, it would be Henry Hust-Waite. There's no one else really I want to discuss in terms of the kids. It's just a really bad week for the kids. Teams will be coming out in a couple of hours. Happy to jump on Twitter while I'm at the Bombers game, watching a win by hopefully 100 points, and talk about potential trade ins and outs. But I wouldn't be getting rid of the likes of Luke Traynor just yet. Wouldn't be getting rid of Isaac Kako if you still owned him just yet. Because the break even for Traynor, who I know is high as 86, is somewhat attainable. And if he was to lose 5-10 grand, the next two games are West Coast and North Melbourne, as you can see there. He could drop 85s or 80s in both those games. Cash regen. The cash generation restarts. We make another 30-40 grand. He should be playing every week for the Tigers. Obviously, Bolter comes in and out of this team, so that affects maybe just some of the ball use off the half-back line. Shouldn't affect kick-ins. Traynor doesn't really get them. Bolter gets a couple a game. But I still like Traynor. I still think he's an on-field option, and I'd rather wait to see out of Reed and Traynor who goes bust first, who gets hurt, or who drops a 20. I know Rayner dropped an 8 as a sub, but if either of them had another really bad game, then they'd be the one to trade. I still like Traynor for at least the next 2 to 3 weeks. Let's get these West Coast and North Melbourne games under our belt. As you can see, played the G last week, has the next 4 at the MCG. It's always a good place to play for a halfback. There's plenty of room outside in those big flanks and those wide pockets. And finally, Isaac Kako plays tonight. I wouldn't be getting rid of Kako because the break-even is 25 and he plays North Melbourne. We've seen Anthony McDonald, Tiffin Woody tear apart North Melbourne. We've seen other small forwards kicking multiple goals on North Melbourne. It's not to say that he's guaranteed to get 50 tonight. He might get 20. I mean, he's a small forward. But the possibility of a 75 to 80 is there, which would completely restart some cash generation, and he could make us another 40 grand. And I just think he hasn't made enough money to get rid of yet. He's 220,000. He's made 68 grand. Let's wait until a big game comes. I want to wait because you know there's a four goal game that's coming at some point. We just don't know when. If it happens tonight, awesome. If it doesn't happen tonight, then we could potentially trade him next week. I will just wait always for the North Melbourne matchup. It's been so fruitful in the past. Well, that's it. That's a quick little update on my team and a quick little update on the quick cash cows you could trade in this week. Any sort of other potential moves. In terms of my trades and in terms of captaincy as well, start with the trades. I'd probably looking to get rid of Levi Ashcroft, not because he's not playing well, not because there's not more money left in him, just because it's my only way to get to Christian Petrarca, and I really would like Petrarca when he has a West Coast matchup. I mean, anytime you get to play West Coast, it's gold in SuperCoach. And Christian Petrarca had 28 CBAs 2 weeks ago. He had 20 on the weekend the long weekend against Richmond. I just think he's building into the season. The scores will start to come. This is a man who's averaged over 110 twice in the past. He's the inside midfield bull. The D's are slowly ramping him up this season after a terrible injury last year. I just think it's track time, and at sub 500k, he is great buying. And the other one I'd look to get rid of would have to be Sam Davidson, not because he's not playing well, just because it doesn't look like there's going to be much more cash generation in him, and he's worth $310,000. He's giving you 200k. Can't ask for too much more. If you didn't want to trade this week, completely understand it, but I'm looking to constantly be upgrading while not using all my trades. I've only used, 14 after these, but just to keep upgrading and getting kids off field. It's always getting back to that point. Kids off field, do not sideways premiums. I could trade Oliver. I could trade Chera. I could trade Ballydow. I don't want to do that. I don't want to trade guys who could average 90 plus. There's just no point when there's players on your field that average 70. Get rid of them. Get in some that can average 90 or 100. That makes you better. That clearly makes you better, and this strategy has worked for me for the last 10 plus years. I don't win the flag every year. I don't win the flag 2 out of 10 years. I might win it once every 20 years, but this strategy gets you to the prelim most seasons. Just my opinion, as always. So in order to pull off that trade, I bring in track there. I want to swap track to my fourth line, of course. And to get rid of Levi Ashcroft, I bring in the Hussman himself, bring in Henry Hust-Waite. That gives me $65,000. That's 2 trades, didn't use the boost. And as you can see, that side looks pretty solid. You've got 4 premium defenders and 2 cash cows making a nice bit of coin. You've got maybe 4 or 3 super premium mids, probably 3. Then 3 sort of mid-tier mids averaging between 95 and 105, which I don't mind. 2 guys there making money for sure. Lindsay and Hewan on the bench making money. 2 locked-in rucks, don't need to change that. A flex ruck in Flynn who's going to make you coin. And hopefully 5 premium forwards, all keepers, and Sam Pepper as my F6 still making a little bit of coin. That's why I like the track trade, because it gives my side some really nice balance and I get a kid off the field. But as always, it's a tough week for rookies. It's a tough week to speculate on kids. It's all about how you feel in your gut, in your plums, and of course, the course for your particular horse. It's always horses for courses and structures. My structure lines up well here that I can bring in a forward premium in Petrarca who's underpriced, but it might not be the case for everyone. That's it. That's my team. Let me know what you think I'm going to score this week. Will I crack the top 1,000? That would be absolutely great for this YouTube show. But in reality, I'm probably going to drop 5,000 spots because it can't go well for you every single week. I started round 1 with a sub 1900 score. I finish round 7 with a 2557. What is in store for round 8? I'll let you decide. I'm going to hope for the best. And in terms of captaincy, as you can see, I have no zeros outside Harry Boyd, so it's probably going to be the Sheezies tonight. Shees VC. The bloke that gets the easiest touches in the AFL, according to Kane Corns. We'll see how he goes at Marvel Stadium. But until then, I wish you farewell. Enjoy the footy. I'll see you all tomorrow for a big edition of Slam Talk Sports to preview a huge round 8. I'll see you all tomorrow afternoon on Slam Talk Sports. I'm Slam. Have a good day. See you then.